everybody. Welcome to the East Coast Red and Gold podcast. I'm Niners Jess, along with Ty Austin, who will be back momentarily, Maddie B, and your girl Bex. What's going on, Faithful?
Ty Alston with the Sue Storm impersonation is very impressive to start off the show here. It's really good.
Yes, definitely. All right, we are continuing our Salute to Service show, and we have special guest Robin with us.
Robin. Hi, everyone.
Hey,
Welcome,
Robin. Hey,
yeah.
Listen, before we get started, you went to the Dallas playoff game after the 2021 regular season. Am I correct on that?
I did. I was there.
The playoff one? You were the one that had the flag and you were kind of like dancing over to the right-hand side? Yes. Okay. I remember you now. I got you.
That was me. It
said, you looked familiar.
You're in Niners country.
Yep. That's you.
Yeah, thanks, man. My hair's a lot longer, but that's definitely me.
Yeah, definitely. I was in the 200 section of the end zone. I was right behind when Debo did the cutback. I was able to see it. And then I remember you were over to the right in the lower bowl section. I was up. I know.
Someone sent me a video of that.
Yep. I think it was me.
Yeah.
So,
someone sent me
good. All right. That is you. That's perfect. All right. That's crazy. Small world.
Yeah, it definitely is a small world. Before we get started, if you want some custom 49ers gear, go to faithfulgear209.com, which is made for the faithful by the faithful. What's up, Ty?
What's going on?
How you doing?
Doing all right. You know, I take care of a little electrical issue.
Everybody.
I was just going to say, right before you were Go Live, you weren't doing so all right.
Yeah. You know, welcome to the East Coast Red and Gold show. You know, at least it wasn't an internet issue.
Right.
Yet.
Let's calm down. All right. We're like, why don't we just summon the?
Damn it!
Why don't we just summon the gods at this point? Right? Like, sheesh.
Maddie, last week it was me with the issue.
Oh,
yeah,
towards
the end of the show, it was me with the issue. And I was like, man, like Maddie's passing it on to me. Like, I was so pissed.
She never has the issue. And then suddenly it's Jess who's freezing. And we're like, well,
yeah.
Ty, we're just going to have to free ball here because she is hung up.
Winnie the Pooh our way right out of here and get moving. Yep. Oh,
I was like, thank God it finally happened to her because it's like unbelievable when it happens. And it's like, she has to think we're lying about this stuff.
Right. Like, I can't express the amount of like things that I have done to ensure that like things are going. And it's like weirdest things happen, man. It's like the 49ers this season. Just the weirdest things happen. And then it doesn't break right. Like, I just don't know what it is, man. I don't know. I'm telling you.
Yes, but
sage
hold that
burning.
thought.
Massive sage burning.
Maddie. Robin, and just to fill you in, it's not a podcast unless one of us has technical difficulties. And usually it's Maddie. There are times where it's Becca, Ty occasionally, but me never. And last week I finally had my technical difficulties and I was like, wow, really? Like, so that's pretty much what we're talking about. So it's not a show unless one of us has something going on.
Passing the hat with who's going to have it's like an over under. We should take bets on who's going to not make it through the podcast without an issue. So
brought to you by DraftKings. Yes.
There you go. At MGM. Come on.
All right. So Robin, I want to start with you. What branch of the military were you in?
I was in the Army.
Okay.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And how did you become a 49ers fan? I love people's stories. When we first started this show, we just we went around just to say how we all became fans. And usually when we have guests, like I love to hear their stories. So how did you become a 49ers fan?
I think it was in 4th grade. I wasn't really big into football, but I love the color red. And then I remember one day I just decided I like the 49ers, but it was because of the colors. And I had heard so much about Joe Montana. And then as I got older, my mom's side of the family is from the Bay Area and they're all 49ers fans. So they would just tell me things, and giving me 49er gear, and just it kind of grew on me as I got older. And I think I really became a really big fan of the Niners. I think I want to say 1993. It was when we had just let go of Joe. So yeah, I had just started watching Steve Young. I was a huge Steve Young fan. I loved the running. It was new to the game, and him being left-handed was so unorthodox for the sport. And I just wanted everything about my life was 49ers, my shoes, my clothes. I probably was more obsessed than I should have been at that age, but yeah, it started with the colors, and then it really was Steve Young. I just loved the way he played football, and I wanted to do everything like him. So yeah, I was 1993, I was 10, 11.
Okay. Awesome.
So imagine
right.
that
Yeah.
someone picking a team by the color of the uniform. Huh.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
I
Boys
got
do it
lucky.
too.
I got lucky because my dad was a Chargers fan, and he never really impressed football upon us like that. He was a bigger Laker fan than he was a Chargers fan. And then because of that, I have an identical twin brother. I'm a Niners fan. My dad was a Chargers fan, and my brother is a Cowboys fan. Don't ask me how I survived in a household for that long, but we did it.
Uh-uh.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So
You know how to fight well.
yeah.
I used to tell anyone who would listen back in the day that Steve Young needed to be playing, like even when we had Montana, because I love the fact the dude could run. Like I thought that was a thing, and
he was more durable at the time.
Yeah, that was a really rough stretch of Joe's career because he was just getting beaten up all the time.
Walloped.
Like Brock Purdy right now.
Yeah, sure.
Not quite the same.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, not
Nah.
really close.
Yeah, there's no Jim Burtz in that scenario, right?
Thank
no
you very
Leonard
much.
Marshalls, none
No
of that.
concrete under the padding.
Nope. It's a different type of beat up nowadays.
Yeah.
All right. So Robin, through 11 weeks of the season, what is your opinion of the San Francisco 49ers?
How much time do we have?
I don't know. We start charging by the hour after 9 p.m. So
Got it. My opinion of the 49ers right now, I think we've kind of like plateaued a bit. We have an aging roster. Some teams are hungrier. We've been at the top of the food chain for the last 5 years. Even when 2020, when we had that down year, we came right back. We are losing a lot of close games, especially late in the game. So I think, if the Niners can put up more points in the red zone, I mean, it's obvious, then maybe it's a lot harder to lose that late in the game. Injuries really got us early and have continued on. I mean, in the Seattle game, once Bosa went out, I think their yards per play average went up to twice as much as it originally was. There's a lot of questions. Why aren't we using Mason more? Why are we forcing Debo the ball? Where's Pearsall been the last game? I just think, we've kind of plateaued, and I think we'll figure it out. I'm hoping we figure it out. I think we're just, we're everyone has seasons. We're having that down part of our season right now. It reminds me a lot of 2021. I think we were 5-5 at this point too. And we had to fight our way into the playoffs. We have the team to do it. We definitely have the roster to do it. But I think we're just, at a plateau right now, and hopefully we can get a little more steam and go forward.
Well, the time is definitely now. We need to beat Green Bay. If we don't beat Green Bay, then we can probably kiss our season goodbye, unfortunately. Yeah, but we're 5-5. We're at 500. The main thing is that we can't put teams away.
I
But
agree.
someone said that was a useless statistic that we've allowed the second most points in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. I don't know who in our chat group said that was a useless statistic.
That would be
But-
Ty.
No, it was Matt. Matt said that was useless. But when you look at the fourth quarter
Me?
statistics under Wilkes last
No,
season,
no, it was
we
Ty.
allowed
It was
any 11-game shutout where we didn't allow teams to score on us. And so now in the fourth quarter, we suck. We're like 23rd in red zone and 25th in third down conversions or something, third down defensive, against the third down. The defense ranks really low. So we have dropped completely off the cliff from last year under Sorensen. And, there's probably a lot of factors. Some of it is definitely injuries, but come on. We have just let people run all over us in the fourth quarter. We are 2-4 in one-score games in the 6 one-score games that we've played this season, which is half the season. We're 2-4 in those situations. Special teams is killing us. That's a big part of it too, right there. The 87,000 missed field goals, fumbles on punt returns, and anyway, yeah. So we can't put teams away.
Yeah, I
Go ahead,
think it was last season. We did a good job of getting ahead and staying ahead. And when you get up by 15 or 16 or even 20, the other team's game plan goes out of the window, and they're going to abandon the run. So what do? You stay in cover 2, cover 3, and you just play the zone, and you let them get, chunk yards here and there, but they never got in the end zone. But now the games are so close. Sorensen, I don't like bashing coaches and players because obviously I'm not a professional on any level at that sport. But it seems like there are coaches who kind of can out-coach him. And, I do think we have a weakness at linebacker with Campbell, and we're missing some guys on the defensive line. The likeliness of us being, out-coached is a lot higher when you're close, when you're up by 4 or 5 points and there's 6 or 7 minutes left in the game. A team doesn't have to abandon the run. I mean, if we stop them on that 4th and 1, the game changes. But the last few years, we've led teams so much. I think this is a year we have to find out that we can't lead every game, and we have to win the close ones. I think it's going to make us champions as we go further. We've blown every lead, so we have to learn how to win when it's close, and we haven't done that very well lately.
Yep. Third down defense is 23rd or 25th. Hold on. I wrote it down because I was like,
Wow.
This is where we're losing games. 25th. We're 25th in the league. Our defense is at stopping teams on third down. We keep letting them convert third and fourth down. We keep letting
Doesn't it
teams
feel like
convert.
that's been the case though for the last couple of years, even with both defenses on third down? Like it used to feel like this team was like, you get to second and long, third and long, forget it. Nowadays it gets to second and long, third. It's almost like if you get a sack on second down now, I'm expecting you to get the first down.
Of course.
On the drive. And that's what ended up happening on that last drive too. The other thing that I see that happens with this team, and it blows me away, and I don't know if this is a McCaffrey thing. I don't know if this is a Jordan Mason thing. I don't know if this is an offensive line thing. But like we started that final drive, which should have been an ice-it drive. Start off with a big run to McCaffrey, get the first down. They get another first down on a defensive holding, and then like 1 yard, and then a 5-yard pass to Jennings, and that's it. Like that's the end of the drive. It's like what? There's actually 1 yard and then a 1 yard loss actually. So it was like 3rd and 11 or something like that. What happens in that? Like we can't run when it counts. Like isn't that the whole point? Isn't the whole point of giving McCaffrey all these carries and all these touches to wear down the defense? It didn't seem to me like that defense was worn down enough. So doesn't that's what I thought too, Steve-O. And then that penalty happened. I'm like, oh, that's a second first down. That's it. They just need one more, and they did not get that one more.
Yep.
And then the special teams comes in and nets a punt for 22 yards, and it was like, I don't know, it was like watching a greatest hits episode of your season, and like it picked out all of the all of the things that had previously happened as Easter eggs in other episodes came to roost in the end, right? Like just all of it. It was really just an abject summary of the entire season so far.
You mean the blooper reel? Not.
Yeah. You could have set it. You could set it to Yakety Sax if you'd like, just to set the exact tone. But for every, it's a Paula Abdul video. It's one step forward, two steps back with this team lately, and that's exactly what it was in this game. I thought they were gritting it out. They were going to get through a gutty one against a division rival in a game that you absolutely had to have.
Yeah.
And they come in and blow the save. They Clay Holmes it. I over and over again.
Billy
we're in the vortex, and it's just we're watching the same episode over and over again.
I call it circling the drain. Here we are. It's about the swirly's about to go down.
I don't think it's that far yet, but man,
we're getting close. We're circling. We've dropped one to everybody in the division now, so getting ugly.
Hi, what do you think?
The offense sucks. Point blank. All these losses are on the offense. We can point the finger and do the Steve Wilkes defense all we want. I mean, still Steve Wilkes blame game all we want. But the Avengers ain't avengering. It's what it comes down to. So until they stop sucking, this is what you're going to get. Point blank. That's why all those fourth quarter defense and the defense did this. Oh, and the special teams did that. Irrelevant. When your offense can't score touchdowns, you lose games. Period.
I I agree with that point.
If the defense wins 80% of the time and the offense only wins 20% of the time,
that's not a winning formula. That's for sure. But
it's the defense's fault.
Well, the offense had a lead going into the fourth quarter up till 2 minutes into this game.
The offense also had the ball on the 27-yard line with an opportunity to score a touchdown. And couldn't get 27 yards. The offense also had the ball when the defense gave them the ball on a fourth down stop. An opportunity to ice the game, go out there and just run your 4-minute offense. Do what you do. Nope. Thanks, offense. A 4 and out. Thanks. Appreciate ya. Good job. Good job.
David, to answer your question.
All in statistics, he's the highest rated guy in NFL history. This guy has 2,000 yards. This guy has 2,000 yards. What the fuck is the
point? Get an amen, Brother Ty.
Yeah, Maddie, you were going to answer, Dave.
I was going to say, David, to answer your point, it wasn't a national game, so no one cared, right? Like, that's what it boils down to. Those West Coast games get like four cameras, and like a GoPro. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. They don't have the same. They don't have the same eye in the sky, the same everything.
The last Seattle game was a nationally televised game. And you had a punt with a ball clearly hit a Seattle defender, receiver,
and they missed it.
He was.
And they missed it.
And somehow they didn't have the camera angle. Okay.
I have seen in the last week, I'm not kidding you, I'm keeping small track of this. In every primetime game that we have had so far, every national game, there is a streak right now. There have been 9 missed face masks in those games. And they were all blatant and all called out by the people. How are these being missed if there's an alleged eye in the sky for this stuff? And it seems like the 49ers are constantly getting screwed by officiating. They have not gotten many breaks this year from the officiating. And that to me is just one of those deals that just kind of goes in with everything else, right? Like whatever the core is. Offense can't get it done. And if the offense can't get it done, then it's up to the special teams to, get what they can. Oh, no. Special teams can't get what they can. Well, here comes the defense again, who really shouldn't be on the field with this type of lead because the offense and the special teams didn't do its job. Now the defense is gassed because they've been out there so long. And then the officials are like, the Tampa Bay game,
Blind.
holding.
Oh, that was
I'm like,
oh my
Baker
God.
Mayfield threw for 5 yards on one play, and like then they got into the end zone on a screen, and everything else was a penalty. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
It all manifests itself, and at some point, it's either going to break loose in one direction or it's going to break loose in another direction. But there's one thing that I can hang my hat on. I have seen our special teams play amazing football games in Green Bay before. Okay. I have seen our team, our franchise, go into Green Bay before and get things right and do things that they did not expect. And I could totally see that this week. And it is America's game of the week.
It is.
I do not. Yeah. So all eyes are going to be on them. This is the playoff start this week, boys. You know, is really what it boils down to. And I hope that's the attitude they have. And if they don't, next week we're going to be talking about, how fun the
Who we're
Buffalo
drafting.
tailgating is going to. We'll talk about how much fun the tailgating is going to be in Buffalo, and if we bring hand warmers or not.
It'd be great to see everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be great to see everyone.
The game
Robin,
off.
what are
Screw
your
that.
No table jumping. No table diving. Come on.
None
Yeah.
of that. None of that.
Maddie, stay away from that.
Yeah.
Robin,
Hammer's
game.
lot. Hammer's lot. He doesn't allow it.
Robin, what are your thoughts on what Ty said about, pretty much the offense is to blame?
Yeah, I mean, I saw a stat today where we're second in offense yards per game. I think we're second in yards per play. And it's just astonishing to see that stat and look at the amount of points we've scored. It's like we get in the red zone and we just start sputtering. It's like we've lost our creativity, and I don't know. I wouldn't say we suck, but I definitely say we're not doing what we normally do, and maybe that's the problem. We're not who we used to be, and we need to figure out who we are right now. Maybe we're a team that has to fight for every inch for the rest of the season, but I think what's getting a lot of us Niners fans is we know that we've got Green Bay, Buffalo, Detroit, Arizona at home. This schedule doesn't look much easier as it goes on, and we lost the games that we should have won. And it's kind of like gloom and doom because it's like, man, if we can't beat the bad teams, how are we going to go on the road and beat the good teams? And looking at Detroit, I'm already like, I might sell my tickets to that game because that game, they're blowing everyone out. I think the offense just needs to do what they've always done and run the ball and run the ball and run the ball and throw it when we need to. Something Ty said about the Seahawks game, in 2020 hindsight, if we run the ball on that last possession, the Seahawks never have enough time or timeouts to get as close as they did. I mean, they scored with 12 seconds left. Instead of throwing that 2nd and 11 where Purdy missed Debo, if we run the ball on that play, there's 40 seconds right there. Who knows what kind of game we're looking at that point? Things change when there's less time. It becomes a little more desperate, but our offense is able to move up and down the field against any team. It's just right when we get to a time to score, it's like we forget our hard hats. We forget what we're doing here. And I honestly don't know what to put my finger on because I could blame the offensive line. I could blame injuries. I could blame Purdy, but it's just, like I said earlier, we're just kind of in a rut right now, and I hope we figure it out. I don't know. I don't want to blame anyone, and because I'm not that guy, but everyone has a part in all of this, and even Shanahan, I think some of his creativity has just gone away, or some people would say he's arrogant. I think we just need to do what we've always done and run the ball, and make teams beat us on the ground and stop us from running the ball. With Mason and McCaffrey, we have options to go inside and out. We don't throw screens as much. I think we just need to get back to playing our brand of football. I think we've gotten away from that.
And also we have this guy by the name of Isaac Garendo who can occasionally run outside. Occasionally he's faster than literally everybody else on the football field. How we do not get that dude a touch or two in situations for him to do well in every game blows me away. Blows me away. Because that's clearly a problem on this team right now.
Who closed
think
out
on
the game in
Sunday.
Seattle earlier this week? I mean,
What was
earlier
that,
this
Ty?
year. I said, who closed out the game versus Seattle earlier this year? Isaac Garendo.
Mhm.
He did it
They sent
against
him out to
Denver.
they
It
sent
was
him
a
out to get
very
bagels.
lopsided
Like,
game. We dominated the first matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. This was like 50-50 on every step. Passing
Yeah.
yards, rushing yards, everything was so closely and more evenly matched than the first go round. So they made adjustments that we didn't make. Like they totally game planned for us in a way that we didn't respond to.
Yeah, and it's not like they're going up against dumb coaches coming up, right? You know, LaFleur is good. McDermott's good.
Yep.
Okay, the Bears, whatever. But like we got the Rams on Thursday Night Football, right? McVay's a pain in the ass, always will be. Detroit, as you mentioned.
so was LaFleur. Yeah.
Arizona. Arizona was a pain last year. Like their season was over, and they were still giving this team that went to the Super Bowl last year literally everything they could handle all the way up until the end of that football game.
Yeah.
And they already beat them this year. So then you're going to do it on a short week after playing Detroit on a Monday. So no matter what happens there, like people don't have good records after they play Detroit. So there's a lot of uphill battle, and there's nobody to blame but themselves. It reminds me a lot of 1985, to be honest with you. Record was about the same too, and they ended up finishing strong. They didn't do anything in the playoffs, but I'm getting a lot of those vibes. It was 1985, 1986 vibes. They kind of middle along. They figure it out. They get warm. See what happens.
Well, that's what we talked about a couple weeks ago. Everybody's like, oh, well, look, we still made the playoffs. We still did this, this, and this when we started with these records. And I'm like, okay, wild card out, playoff out. Like, that doesn't get you to the Super Bowl. So I'm not, I have zero expectations that we're going anywhere maybe beyond, and unless we get these wins the rest of the season, a wild card spot, and we're probably out in the playoffs. I surely hope that's not the case, but it's not looking good for the home team.
All right, so I'm going to put the link in the chat, so whoever wants to join us can join us, and just tell us what's on your mind. What I'm seeing is that there's no sense of urgency. We used to be the team that would bully other teams. Now it seems we're being bullied
all the time.
Mm-hmm. Everybody learned to play our brand of football and giving us a dose of our own medicine. And now that we're down players and people are hurt, we're getting smash mouth right back in our face.
The offense without George Kittle is non-existent.
Well, I mean, Jawan Jennings did his part. I wouldn't say non-existent.
He did.
I know you're little rose-colored glasses about that.
he was missed though, because
George is
typically a Seahawks killer. We know he goes off against Seattle. It's like him versus Dallas.
Yeah.
So him not being out there was definitely missed.
Especially in the run game at the end of the game. And I think that's probably where you noticed it the most, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
Also, once again, tight end 2 does absolutely nothing for this franchise. It is a complete net negative. Like special teams and the backup tight end can't get it right. Can't get it right.
The fact that Kyle put Jalen Moore out there as the tight end number 2.
Right.
I didn't like
Tells
that.
you all you need to know.
That was jumbo. That was going jumbo heavy in the run game.
Yeah.
Impose your will on them. I have no problem with that. Like, instead of going with a backup tight end, put in an offensive lineman and let them know we're going to run this ball and there's nothing you could do about it. That's old school
right down your throat.
bully football.
It's coming, and here it comes. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get back to that. I'm with that. I had no problem with that.
But did it work?
It did not. Like, I like the thinking, but the fact that they are having to do that when they typically wouldn't, because to me, this offense is going to be built around, like,
right.
I don't know, not so much like, it's kind of like they do it like the Celtics do. It's not that they say they're positionless, but like you're just as liable to see one of your receivers throw a trick pass as you are anything else on any given play, right? You never quite know what anybody on this team is going to do. They tap into everybody's strengths in terms of everything that they're doing, and just hasn't felt like they've done that lately. And what really gets you is it's the same positions every year. How many years have we been talking about the backup tight end position? Like, how many years, guys? And what do we get from it every year? Drop passes and pain. Okay, that's what we get.
Now wait a minute. Last week, Saubert threw a beautiful block for Ricky Pearsall. He did. It was the key block that let Pearsall do his thing.
What? Yeah, there's no Brandon Ayuk. Where's Ricky Pearsall? Like what?
Right.
Yeah, he was pretty much non-existent.
Like he's shown that he can take the ball and do things. Like let's get him the ball in scenarios where he can, get the ball and do things. Like
he only had 2 targets.
Yeah.
What can you do?
It seems like they can figure out ways to scheme everybody the ball, but like then at the end of the game they're like, "Oops, we forgot this guy."
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't know. And it seems like there's been a very big reliance lately to try to feed Debo, and it feels like Debo just doesn't have the appetite he once did. Let's just put it that way.
Or they're scheming against Debo, I feel like, too, a lot more.
They haven't changed up a lot of the plays. They're running the same stuff that he ran a couple years ago. Like there's not other things that we can run to do this stuff. Like, so to me, that's either like the league is caught up, they're not being creative, or he's lost a step, or it could be, or even a half a step. And guess what? It could be a combination of all three. So
all of it, yeah.
Guys, the link is in the chat. If you want to jump on for a few minutes and tell us what's on your mind, and tell us if the sky is falling and we're done for the season and all that fun stuff. Robin, what are your mid-season grades for Kyle Shanahan, Nick Sorensen, Brian Schneider?
Schneider's an F, absolute F. Like, not even trying to be funny. It's just the missed field goals, the muffed punts, the bad coverages.
Yeah.
It's been consistently awful. Sorensen.
I hear you, Tony.
I'll give him like a C minus. I had a lot more expectations for Yadam. I thought he had a good year in New Orleans, and he hasn't really panned out. I mean, he's had a few good plays, but not for a guy who's supposed to start. So I'll give Sorensen a C minus. And Shanahan, I think I'll give him a C plus, C. I think he hasn't figured out, and he's so good with pieces too. He hasn't figured out how to use Mason, Garendo, and McCaffrey. I think without Ayuk, we've really lost, the ability to throw the ball deep or in the middle of the field, because we don't do that often. But yeah, I give Shanahan a C, Sorensen a C minus, and special teams an F. They've just been, we can't even rely. Every time we kick the ball off, I'm so worried. I'm just absolutely worried. Like, oh God, we're going to be the team to get scored on. And of course, we're the team that did allow a team to get a kick return on us. And it seems like most teams don't do that this year. So I don't know. I don't like to play the blame game because I love this team, even though they make me sad.
I know you're in your car, otherwise I'd say drink.
Yeah, when we lost to the Rams, I literally my friends were over, and then they had left in the middle of the game. When we lost to the Rams, I literally just turned my TV off and fell asleep on my couch and took like a sad nap.
Just gotta go to sleep.
Yeah, like I'm gonna wake up and this is gonna be a dream. And I woke up and I was like, no, not really.
That really
When
happened.
you wake up, like you're cold, your feet are sticking out because your blanket's not long enough, and you're just like, well, this is what I deserve.
Yeah, what's so crazy is like in that game and in the Cardinals game, we came out and we looked exactly like the team we all know we can be. And then just something changed. And I'm like, how is this team without their top wide receiver, both their top wide receivers, their missing a ton of people on their offensive line, and they're hanging with us. And it seemed like, I think I tweeted about it because I'll never call Twitter X. I tweeted about it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Stafford was literally changing the plays when he saw Sorensen's defense on that last drive. I'm like, and don't get me wrong, Stafford is a legend. He'll go down in the Hall of Fame. But I'm thinking like a guy who has control of a full defense and a guy who has control of his offense, like I watching Stafford completely run through that defense on that last drive was just, I was astonished. I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, maybe Sorensen isn't the guy. And it makes me question what Staley's job is. You know, my son, I coached his football team this year, and I was an assistant coach, but our coach would come to the sideline. He'd ask, what do you think? I'm like, well, it's 4th and 3 or it's 3rd and 5. You know, we only need the first down. Like, I would say reasonable things. I wouldn't say let's throw a hook and ladder here and there, right? Like, I wonder if someone's on the sideline like, hey, coach, let's just be reasonable here. Like, we got a guy we can go to. We got a play. Do we have a play that we can go to on a certain situation when it's 2nd and 10 or 3rd and 11? Like I said, we came out and we were crushing the Rams. Like, that looked like the team from last year. And then after that game, we've never been the same. We were literally never the same.
I want to make a comment on something, or Robin, I want to make a comment on something you said. You talked about Brandon Staley when Diamador Lenore signed his contract. He had high praise for what Brandon Staley, he said, has done for him and helped him do since he joined the team. So I'm scratching my head like, if he's got such influence and helping, you know, Diamador Lenore, why are we not seeing something on the field? What is his role? Are they limiting his role? And how is that not I don't know what that dynamic is, but I think if Sorensen doesn't pan out, then maybe that turns into something else for us. But he that was something I found very curious, that he had a lot of praise for how much Staley being there has helped him develop. And I was like, well, that's awesome to hear, but it doesn't look that way. You know, we're not seeing
Show us.
Yeah, I remember him saying that.
Well, keep it a buck. Brandon Staley is simply the defensive backs coach. That's all he does. All that fluff about being the assistant head coach and he'll do this, that's just a figurehead title. That's, yeah, come in. I'm going to give you a raise, but I'll give you this nice, shiny title. But you do this. That's what happened. He's just working with the defensive backs. That's it. That's why you saw the rise of a young Malik Mustafa, Renardo Green, Diamador Lenore having an all-pro season. Like, if you look, the DBs are playing very well.
They are.
Because that's what he's coaching. So there you go. The defense overall, the scheme, the game plan, blah, blah, blah. That's Nick Sorensen.
Yeah, but should he not have a little bit more to say? I don't know. That's the whole point here, is what's translating on the field is not winning in the fourth quarter anyway.
I have a theory that you guys remember, I think last year when we hired Staley, the Niners, Shanahan said something, they were actually going to get, what's his name? The coach from the Falcons. Morris, is that his name?
Raheem
Morris.
Yeah, they were actually trying to get him to coach the defense before he went to Atlanta. Because I think Raheem Morris and Shanahan had worked together at some other point in their career.
Yeah.
And maybe they plucked Staley because they were like, if Sorensen doesn't work out, then we've got our next defensive coordinator on our staff, and we don't have to worry about, you know, the rotation of guys going to other teams, right? Like, you know, I don't think they predicted Saleh losing his job with the Jets, but maybe Brandon Staley was just a backup plan in the event that we have our guy on our staff. If Sorensen doesn't work out, we let him go, and then we just promote Staley. Maybe they didn't want to go for a search. I mean, I don't know. I could be reaching, but I don't know what Staley's role is besides DBs. And obviously we can see that, but I think to hire a coach who just came off of a head coaching job as like some underlying role is just kind of odd, considering the 49ers staff doesn't really do things like that. Like, we've never done that. So maybe they're just tucking him away for the next season.
I think one thing that they were trying to do with this whole thing, this tag team thing of making it look like Brandon Staley was going to come in and overhaul this defense, a lot of people wanted like a big name defensive coordinator come in here. And Shanahan did go after Bill Belichick, you know.
He did.
So I mean, I don't think you can really go any bigger than that. He did offer him the job. He didn't get it, but that was that.
Yeah.
But according to
Did
him,
inquire-
baby.
He
Yeah,
did
I mean-
inquire about Spagnolo, but
he's right
that's when
about him
Spagnolo was
too.
extended by the Chiefs.
The Raheem Morris thing like makes sense too, because that's part of that whole tree in that Mike Silver book there, and
Yeah.
Morris is a part of that, so that all makes sense. But yeah, I just think that's what it was. I think they're like, okay, well, we're gonna get Sorensen, but we did this exhaustive search, and we're gonna have Brandon Staley here just in case, right? I think that's really what it boiled down to, because you know the Steve Wilkes thing was, you know, the whole other ball of wax. So you know, take that for what you will.
Right.
Brian Culp, how are you?
BC in the house. What's going on?
Hey,
The
Mr.
man, the
Cole.
myth, the legend.
Hey, it's a rare evening that I'm off. I work
I know.
24/7 every day of the week, every hour of the day. It's just that way. The mail never stops. But what I'd like to say is I really feel like this season has been really, it's keyed off on money, and it's all about money. It's all about everybody's feelings got hurt at the beginning of the preseason and training camp, and really, you know, back at the draft, because, you know, we had a wide receiver wanting to either leave or get paid, and we were doing the hokey pokey with him, and we just really were trying to maneuver too much money at one time. We've had a lot of players restructure their contract several times now, the same players keep restructuring their contract, and I'm not the math guy. You guys know that. I like number 3 because I can count it on one hand. But the thing is, if you keep restructuring your contract, then ideally you're telling that player, we're going to keep you for a longer period of time. We're going to give you a payday eventually, right? But you're going to be on the team for the overhaul, right? The whole tenure of your career. We want you, right? So we got a couple players that have locked in like that. And when we lost a player like that this year, Armstead, a lot of the players, it seems like, have had maybe a divide in the locker room, or a little bit maybe of a, you know, it's not so happy to go to work anymore. Maybe your friend's not there, you know, and, you know, maybe he was the funnier guy in the locker room. It's just not fun in San Francisco or Levi's or, you know, Santa Clara, or wherever you want to say we're playing at. But it does seem like because of the holdout of Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams, and then all of a sudden we get CMC with an injury, it doesn't seem like things are adding up correctly. Trent comes in, you know, everybody says, you know, even with Bosa last year, when you don't play in preseason and training camp and practices, and everybody knows how I like to say we need more preseason games, right? Because it gets everybody practice against other players, not just your own team. When you're playing against the same player all the time, or the, you know, similar people, they are like, oh, okay, well, we know this formation. We know they're going to be running deep on us. You know, we can't hit the quarterback, this and that. So you don't play the same way in a preseason game as you would in, you know, practice, you know, and then with them limiting practice, that really has hampered. But this is the, you know, the new, you know, football, right? The new NFL. We don't have 6 preseason games anymore. We don't do 3 practices a day anymore. So a lot of things have gotten a little bit softer for the guys. So again, to go back to what I said, them not coming into training camp on time, them holding out has hampered the team. And then we have this whole Super Bowl hangover, right? And we got some guys, you know, some people love them, some people hate them, but we got, and not just going to name one guy, but we got multiple guys in our media room, our locker room, that want to keep stirring stuff up. And sure, it's about clicks and it's about topics, and people want to hear about, you know, the Niners because that's what it is. But it seems like now the team is fighting with certain individuals, and instead of worrying about football, they're worrying about how they're going to answer a certain question during the press conference. And I'm just getting like, I don't see this being 49er football. We're not running the ball anymore. We don't have a 3-headed running back anymore. It seems like since CMC's came on board, everybody else is forgotten about. And now that CMC was hurt, we still forgot about everybody. We have 2 really good running backs, even though one's a rookie, the other one, Jordan Mason. The only thing I could say is he hurt his shoulder, and that's why they took him out. But then immediately the next week they put him back in when CMC's there, but for 1 play. And then last week he got 2 plays. If he's the guy that's getting it done, then why are we trying to force feed somebody like Ayuk or Debo when we know Debo's kind of lost a step? Ayuk at one point had less catches than his jersey number. Okay. I mean, and you're the one who's asking for the bag. So I really feel like the team needs to get back on track. Special teams have been garbage for a long time. We're not going to even argue about that. We all know that. So they've been garbage before the Shanahan era. But, when you have a kicker making the final tackle at the end, if he doesn't tackle, then the guy's going in the end zone and then he hurts his leg, right? Then you get another kicker. He gets hurt. Then you get another kicker. And it's like, okay, so, I mean, like, I don't get it. Now our punter's gone. So it's like, I just don't understand how special teams is going to get any better. Now, as far as defense, I want everybody to understand too, the Niners, us right here, this chat, everybody, we have a really strong voice. It's heard across the whole world. Maybe not at this moment, but it is heard. Our opinions are held. We didn't want Staley as the head coach at the defensive coordinator position. They pulled that in. They were going to try to maneuver it in, and they didn't like it. They didn't. So they give him a fancy title. And as far as are the DBs playing good? Yeah, they're playing good. But then there's times where the wide receiver drops the ball too. So if they would have caught the ball, are we still going to be saying the DBs are playing that good? No, the DBs right now are playing really off. They're giving a lot of coverage to some of these wide receivers, and they're making passes on us because our defensive line isn't getting home. And the only player that we can consistently say that is getting home is Bosa, and he can't carry the whole team. He's hurt now, and it's going to be a tidal wave. But I'd like to say just take one day at a time, because it'll be funny. It's kind of how the season's gone on. I feel like we'll beat Green Bay, but we'll probably lose the next week. It's just one of those things. It's just you can't control what's happening. And as far as trying to, you just got to root for the team, win or lose, even if you think they don't have a shot. And like what Beck said earlier, if we get into the playoffs and we don't, if we get into the playoffs, we got a shot. We went to the we were the 7th seed with Jimmy Garoppolo going against the Rams in 2002. So if we get in the dance, we have a chance. But I don't want to be going in there at 9-7 or whatever, 9-8 or something. I'd
It's
like
a
to,
long shot, though. Like that's a stretch. That's a stretch goal. It's a long shot at this point. Which, hey, if we get there, good. But I'm just saying, it's a long damn road to get back to the Super Bowl at this point.
So, Brian, real quick, do we get back on track against Green Bay?
Absolutely. The following week, I don't know. But this week, I think we win.
Okay. Red Jet Shell, what's going on?
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Ty.
What's up, Shell? Look at that hoodie.
Oh, look at that.
Looking clean.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that sweatshirt.
I got 3 hoodies in the house tonight.
Go.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so girl, what's
Okay.
on your mind?
Same as everybody else. Win or go home. Pretty much. Enough is enough. I mean, 5-5, we need at least 3 of those back. There's 2 that we did shoot ourselves in the foot. One of them I went to the game.
You poor thing.
It was free, so I can't complain. But 5-5, this is what it is right now. That doesn't mean it's going to be this. Is this the end of the road? No, we're at the middle of the road, literally. If we don't win the Sunday or the next Sunday, start looking at the draft picks, free agency. Just let it die. You know what I mean? Let it die, because what we can't control is what we can't control. This is the reality right now, which is the 5-5. Do I feel that we can do it? Yeah, if you get out of here. But that's me. That's just my, that's my lens, and the lens it does get dirty, right? I do think that we do win this Sunday. I think that we win next Sunday, provided we play like a unit. If you look at the Warriors, it's a good example. They're 10-2 or 10-3 right now, but they're playing like they were in 2012, 2013, and 14, which would end up, getting a championship. When you play like a unit, that's what you get. But when you play in your head and you're trying to be something you're not, or trying to fit in or do the right things, you do the wrong thing. I mean, it's like driving a car. You're always trying to drive the speed limit or keep your distance, and you're the one that causes the accident. So it's like, to me, it's like it's a focus thing. Head in the game, keep it on the field. Everything else doesn't matter. this week has been an amazing week for me. I got to meet the one, the only, the all-pro Fred Warner on Monday. It was amazing. I sure did. I sure
Day
did.
before his
And
birthday.
Sourdough
Look at
Sam.
that.
Yes, I know, right? So
He's a
I'm
nice
on a
guy,
whole
Did
isn't
you
he?
just melt
Yeah.
into like a puddle of like, I don't know, like goo in your
right. I almost passed out just looking at him. I'm like, oh my God, he is tall. I was like, wow. But
He's pretty. He's so pretty.
oh my God, I was just like, go ahead. I don't even. Yeah, I'm just gonna smile. Hey. Well, I think we just need to, like the comment says, just play the game. Play the game you know how to play. We go out, we hit people in the mouth. Sounds like Singletary, right? We want winners, right?
Yeah.
Right now, we
We
want
want
wins.
winners.
We want
Hit
wins.
with him.
We want to win no matter what. But I want to see consistency that which we saw when Brock Purdy first came in after Jimmy G went down. We saw that consistency week after week after week after week. Sure, there were mistakes and miscues and stuff like that, but it wasn't like this where you're constantly getting flagged for stuff you shouldn't be getting flagged for. I'm just saying. Defensive holds that weren't holds. Next question, please. I feel like what's happening right now should not be happening, but again, that's out of the control of a fan. I'm just one football fan, just like the next fan. But I do agree with everything that you guys are saying. I do think there's a lot of. I don't like to do the shoulda, woulda, coulda, because if it shoulda, woulda, coulda, then it would have happened to me. But that's how I feel about it. But it's not over yet. We do have 7 games, of which 6 can be won unless stranger things happen and we went out, which I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, anything from New Rochelle, anything that's fashion, anything that's positive, I'm with it. So I'm just like, let's go. That's how I feel about it.
So my question for everybody, I saw this on a show. Is Brock Purdy regressing? Ty?
There's a little bit of a sophomore slump. There is. And I don't know why, but there is. I mean, still playing at a high level, but there's some things that are off. And we've seen it. Holding on to the ball too long, locking on to one guy in the progression, missing an open throw, little things like that. So there is a little bit off with him. I don't think he's falling off a cliff, which other people are trying to put that narrative out there, but he is off a little. But everyone's off a little, right? with the exception of George, basically. But that's neither here nor there. But everyone's off a little. But yes, he has been off a little. And as the head of the engine, as Captain America, the first Avenger, it hurts. It hurts. So, like that pass to Debo at the end of the game, that high pass, that's our bread and butter play. Like we run that in our sleep. To see that not completed hurts, right? So it's little things. But Brock, the thing I love about Brock, he's accountable for himself. He knows when he does bad and he strives to get better. He doesn't just chuck it to the side. So that's why you got to keep the faith and stay faithful and believe that he will correct things.
Maddie, what do you think?
I would agree with that. I think it's just more of a product of everything seemed a little off this year. Everything has seemed a little bit off this year. And I think he's probably trying to do a little bit more, right? He seems to be the type that's going to internalize and blame himself for everything. And I'm sure he's probably gone back and watched a tape of the Super Bowl about 100 times and has probably seen about 1,000 things that he'd like to do differently. And if you listen to a lot of the stuff that he said this offseason, it's like, I really want to go in and make sure I take over games and stuff like that. And it's almost like the exact opposite is happening right now, especially in the fourth quarter. He wants to take over games and finish them off in the fourth. Well, so far this year, all they've done is cough up games on the regular, it seems. Even some of the games they've won, they've really had to hold teams off the end. Even with the Cowboys, man, they let the Cowboys score a lot of points at the end. It's kind of those little things that are just So yeah, and a lot of that too. It kind of goes back into what we were talking about earlier. There's just I haven't seen anything. Is there anything that you've seen this offense do this year that's new? Anything? Anything? Because I can't think of anything off the top of my head. It seems like every year there's usually something that they do, and everybody's like, "Wow!" You know, they'll pull something out of the Walsh playbook or something. Haven't had that this year. Whether that's him, somebody else, you know, that's what it is right now.
Yeah, Becca.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with either one of you. I think, you know, he is trying hard to hold it together. When you start the season without Brandon Ayuk, without Christian McCaffrey, and you know, you're relying on other people. He has done a lot with his feet to keep us in games and you know, to keep things close. He's really working hard. I mean, what is he ranked? I don't know what he's ranked through week 8 or through the week 11, but he's definitely top 10 quarterback. So he's still ranked highly, you know, for quarterbacks in the league. So, you know, we can't dismiss that. He's out there, he's working hard, he's doing the damn thing for the team. But, you know, you're absolutely right. There are miscues. He's overthrowing guys that should be a home run to Debo. It should be a great ball to somebody else. It's underthrown to CMC this past week, like this dirt ball that CMC tries to get and somebody bats it and it ends up getting intercepted. Like a lot of balls getting touched because he's hanging in the pocket too long, trying to dance around and wait for someone to get open. Is that all his fault? I mean, I don't know. You know, like there's a lot that goes into those progressions and the reads. But I think Brock is trying to do everything he can to win and do his job. And I still think he's doing it well. He's doing it at a high level. But, you know, maybe there is a step back. Teams are trying to pressure him and get after him in a way that they didn't know what they didn't know before. Now they're coming on hard and strong and trying to put him under pressure. So you see more of that.
Robin, what do you think?
I wouldn't say regression. I would just say like, yeah, he's not having his hottest year. I do think the interior of the offensive line is having the worst time of its life. He's probably a little more skittish. I mean, Jake Brendle's the worst center in football out of 32. I think he plays 38. I think, you know, he's young. They're going to make mistakes. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has 11 interceptions. Are we going to say he's regressing? You know, but I know there are missed throws. He's made some bad throws. He missed some throws, but he's also hit some around the head, some dots. The offensive line isn't helping. Not having Christian McCaffrey isn't helping. Kittle missed 3 games this year. That's not helping. Ayuk being out doesn't help. We're not seeing this team at its best, and we just got to figure it out. I think Purdy is his lumps. I think he'll grow from it. Because we've seen him, you know, even as a young, fresh off the bench quarterback against the hottest team in football, his first game, he did exceptionally well. I just think, you know, Shanahan has to do better at getting him in situations where he can produce better and be, you know, maybe, I don't know why we've abandoned the play action. I don't understand it. But, you know, maybe Shanahan is like, I'm going to do that now. So I think Purdy's doing okay. Do I think he's doing great? He's doing good. He's not doing great, but he's not doing bad either.
Right?
I don't think he's regressed. I think there's been players around the hats. I think that the offense has changed from last season to this season with the people that we've had on the team. So, you know, it's kind of hard to do certain things when you don't have the same personnel. And if George Kittle missed 3 games, then that's kind of 3 losses right there. So it's you know, Maddie said it earlier, we don't have another tight end that can do anything. So, you know, it's like now you're going out there, you don't have a wide receiver. Debo, I guess you can call him a wide receiver. CMC's not there, and if he is there, he's not fully healthy. So you're not truly believing in your other 2 running backs So what is Brock supposed to do? He's supposed to stand back there and try to make something happen. And we've been lucky to see him run around in the pocket a little bit. And I actually feel like he's done really a good job with what he's been given. It's not his fault that the sacks aren't coming, and it's not his fault that, their defense is giving up 3 touchdowns in the end of the, fourth quarter or whatnot. That's not his fault. But the interception at the beginning of the game, yeah, that's his fault. Him trying to throw it into areas that he should probably just, let the punt team come out. Yeah, that's his fault. But again, I think he's trying to do what he can do. And I wouldn't say he's regressed. I think it's just a little just different. I just think he's a little different this season.
Fred?
Same. I don't think he's regressed either. I think it's just, off season. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's, if it's not there, throw it away. Don't take a sack. Don't turn it over. And please don't know where your defenders are. I mean, I think at first, to me, it was like he saw that, he knew that, and now it's like it's not that he forgot that. It's just there's this moments where he's just, I don't know if it's trying to be the hero or trying to I'll save you, save the day kind of thing, but it's more of just focus. Just do what you're good at. Just play good football. You're professional. You talk to the media. You answer questions. You take accountability. That's what you do best, and that's what we all are cheering. We're cheering for you. We're rooting you on. So I think that it's someone else said, it's one of those seasons where it's literally just off sophomore mistakes. So now's the time to correct that because they only have 7 games and only 2 divisionals left. So if it doesn't happen now, can't call it. But I do think that I don't think that he's regressed. No.
All right. So before we get out of here, are we all
Hold
in
on. You didn't
agreement
give
that
your opinion, did you?
he's not regressing?
Hold on. I got an issue with a comment. Hold on. Bruh. Ain't nobody on this panel say he's Jimmy G 2.0.
Oh,
No one was there. No one whispered at that.
no.
No one even
I'm
hinted at
gonna
that.
throw a brick at you right now.
Nobody say that.
Oh, Lord.
Clean them ears out. There ain't nobody
Nobody
saying
said that at all.
We all know we rocking with Brock, and he ain't none of that.
He's 10,000% better than Jimmy G.
Don't put that
100
bad
times
juju on us.
Pull that.
Shake the dirt. Shake the dirt.
I'm getting the dirt. I'm getting the damn dirt.
Just remember, with Brian Hoyer, this team was like what 1-11 or some hot garbage.
You take
They
it back.
interject him, right? They win 4 in a row because that was the level. That was the change, right? They went from backup into fringe starter, right? Now what happens when you go from Brock Purdy to Jimmy G, from Jimmy G to Brock Purdy? You see that next level step up, right? So hopefully Brock takes that next level on his own.
Yeah,
This
like
is
I
only
said,
his
he's
second full season
one
also.
of the top quarterbacks in the
True.
league this season,
Yeah.
and we have a 500 record. Brock Purdy is playing good football. Take
he
that.
is playing good
I don't know.
football.
I think Jimmy
oil.
G's injury. I think his injury in the beginning of the 2018. I think that really hampered him. We got lucky to go to 2019. But if you look at Jimmy G, when he was just facilitating the offense and just doing what we needed him to do, yeah, everything ran really crisp. But after his injury, he was limited a little bit and he couldn't get out of the pocket as much. Then he started trying to force things. We seen how his arm was at that point. And yeah, I think he got scared. But as far as Brock hasn't, he had that injury, but he's come back. He had the offseason to rehab from it, but he's not Jimmy G. I think Jimmy G at one point probably was more athletic than him and better. That's why he probably was drafted at that point. But the injury after that crippled him. Brock, you can see he's young and he wants it. He really wants it. Jimmy's won a Super Bowl on the bench like 2 times, right? And then, he's gotten paid. So, Brock's still trying to get paid. So, you got to look at the guy. He's a little bit more eager to try to do better.
Motivation.
Brock's a different animal,
He is.
and I think he handles the offense so much better than Jimmy G did.
1,000%. I mean, even Debo will be like, look at the 10-second split on the 40. He's the fastest guy on the team.
All right, before we jump out of here, let's chat Green Bay real quick. Who is everyone's X factors to win this game? Red, I'll start with you.
The person I just met, Fred Warner, X Factor.
Okay. Brian?
Jake Moody.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. If it comes down to Jake Moody, I'm gonna have to walk out and just walk into.
I really, you know what? I don't want it to come down to Jake Moody, not because of his misses or anything like that. We should just never. It should never come down to that. We should just be taking care of business.
Ever.
But being an X factor doesn't mean it comes down to you. It just means you had a really good game. So maybe he kicks a really good field goal a couple times, puts us up ahead. Maybe we score in the red zone like we're supposed to, and we don't have to rely on the kicker. But as far as being the X factor, maybe he kicks it into the stands. I don't know. I think he's going to be the MVP of the game. That's my thoughts.
Okay. Robin, how about you? I think we lost you. Go ahead, Becca.
He's frozen.
For me, it's the run game. It's going to be CMC, Jordan Mason, whoever. I mean, they let Chicago run 170 yards on them last week. So we need to absolutely shred the run game. That is going to be the key to victory for us and getting ahead in this. So that's my X factor.
Addie?
Mooney Ward.
Oh, yes. Moody's come back.
Nice.
Hi.
Oh, damn it. The entire offense. Give me more than 1 and 2 touchdowns, please.
Robin, who's your X factor?
He may not know what you asked, Jess. You might have to repeat that for him. If he
I did.
out.
I'm going to give you one on defense. Offense, I'm going to say Christian McCaffrey. I think he has a big game. Defense, I'm going to say Fred Warner. I love Fred Warner, so he's going to do
Who
it.
doesn't love Fred?
Who doesn't? Yeah.
I am going with 2 on offense. I'm going with CMC because we need to run the ball. Run the ball. And of course, I'm going with George Kittle because why not?
Because you have to. George vowed to play in this game. He said he was playing no matter what.
He will growing up a Bears fan, he will never not play against the Packers. So he will be out there and I expect great things. And as always, good things happen when the ball is in George Kittle's hands. I can't say that enough. Kittle in the middle. That's right. All right, let's go to that hurry up offense in the 2-minute warning. And Brian, Red, you guys are going to join us for it.
Go.
Ty, you're up.
The offense sucks. Point blank. You keep trying to win games by not scoring touchdowns. I don't know where you do that at. But yeah, that's all I got to say. Show me something.
Red?
Do your job. Get us a win. Play like the team we have grown up watching all these years. All this drama, all this stuff out the window. 7 games, make it happen. Do your job. I approve mine and Ty's message.
Brian.
Debo, Samuel, Tython, whatever you're going by today. Everyone on the 49ers, lock in. Just lock in. That's all you got to do.
Offense, lock in.
Defense, special teams, everyone, lock in. The entire team. Coach, everybody. General manager, lock in.
Lock Brian Schneider in a room and don't let him out. That is also part of the lock in. Like, just accidentally lock him in the hotel room. Someone else goes to the special teams for a day. That's it. There's nothing to lock in there. Lock that right in.
Hi, Robin.
Just keep the faith. Forever faithful. We can do this. We've done it before.
Becca.
Go Niners. Yes, lock in. Happy birthday, Fred. Happy birthday, Robin. Thanks for your service and thanks for joining us. Happy birthday to your dad, Jess. And don't forget to go visit Faithful Gear and get your gear. But yes, go Niners. Let's get this win. We absolutely need it. 1 game at a time.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys were awesome. Robin, thank you for your service. Thanks for coming on. Red Jet, Shell, Bryant Culp, thank you. Thanks to Faithful Gear. Get your gear, faithfulgear209.com. Stay faithful. Let's get this dub on Sunday. Let's right the ship. Let's get into those playoffs. As always, go Niners. See you next week.
See ya.
And of course, for the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3.
We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly.
Montana looking.